Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ademola Badmus. If this is your first time, please do not forget to like and subscribe. So in this video, we are going to do a brief introduction into some basic Python syntaxes. So we are going to launch our PyCharm. Yes. So we launch our PyCharm and we begin. So in this video, I'll just create a simple I'll create a simple Python file. Yes. So what I will do is I'll just right click on the project itself. So I'll create this inside the root of the folder, just introduce us to it. So we can say intro, call it intro, and we begin the introduction. I need to also note here that this introduction to Python is not, this particular video is not going to make you a pro at Python. It means that you have to get more resources and learn how to program in Python if your career path is tending towards software developer engineering test. So you have to be able to write some codes up to an intermediate level at least. So if you want to do that and if you want to use Python as your language of choice, I would suggest that you do some research. There are very good materials, some on Udemy by Code Still, and you can even find some free things on YouTube by Corey Schaefer. These are really good materials that I've actually come across, and they really helped me in my growth as well. So that being said, let's start. The first thing that we are going to talk about in this video is going to be about variables. So what are variables? Variables essentially in any programming language are named memory locations used in storing data. So that means that in order to store anything on your computer, you need to have a variable. On a high level note, something you can relate to, let's just give it as an example. It is not exactly the same thing, but let's just give it as an example. You know, if you open a new Word document or probably a PowerPoint presentation that is new, or an Excel sheet, when you're done with all the manipulations of data or the things you want to write into it or the presentations you want to create, when you're done, when you want to save, you have to give a name. So that name is the variable that actually stores the Word document. So anytime you need it, all you just need to search for is the name. You will not essentially be searching for the content inside it. You search for the name, and once you launch it, it reveals the data inside. So that is essentially the way variables work. So when it comes to programming language, what are the properties of variables? Well, variables should actually start with some special characters if they are permitted in that particular language, or an alphabet. It should never start with a number. Numbers are not used to start a variable. And variables, they could be dynamic during the execution of a script, except it is stated otherwise in the code. Except it is stated otherwise as a static variable. In languages like Java, it is more pronounced that you can create a variable that will be static. But in a loosely typed language like Python, to state that a variable is static, you just by convention probably start with an underscore to start an underscore to show that it is private or is static, but it doesn't mean that it cannot change because there is nothing binding it in Python. So that's what makes Python awesome at times. So now, in naming variable, for the sake of the class, I will be using something. I'll be introducing you to something called camel casing and snake casing. So for camel casing naming of variables, right, we have something like this. If I want to say, maybe I want to say element locator, this is camel casing, element locator equals um, let's say hello, let's say equals, let's call it a tag button. So let's just give it a tag, so button, right? So now that you have this, it means that we have used a camel casing type of thing. As you can see, the next meaningful word is started with a capital. But if you're going to do the same thing in snake case, we'll write element, same variable, locator equals another tag, let's say div, right? Just as an example. So this is a camel case writing, and this is the snake case writing. So now let's get back to what variables actually store. Variables store data types, and there are several data types in Python. There is string, there is list, there is set, there is tuple, there is dictionaries. So in this particular class, we'll be focusing mainly on strings and lists. The rest you can pick it up in the documented in the materials I did talk about earlier. So, like we just showed in the earlier example, let me do that. We can see anything that is returned in a quote is a string value. I've mentioned this before in in my Java class, and unlike Java, Python is a bit forgiving. There, there are some string variables in Java that you can only express using double quotes. But in Python, you can express any string with double quotes or single quotes. It's all right. So that being said, that is what I just showed you here. You have two variables, but they are both strings, and they are represented in different in with different quotes. So now we can also store so many other things inside a variable. We can store all those data types I mentioned. You can store a set into into a variable. You can store tuples. You can store dictionaries and the likes. And one other thing is you can also do variable. You can also do data type casting. What do I mean by data type casting? You can convert a particular data type into another form of data type. Now, for instance, if we have number equals 2, right? We can change this to an integer because it is numeric 2. So we can say, let's just print it out to test it. We can say print, we just use the value int and put it in brackets number, right? Now, the first thing we'll first do is we'll print number normally, and we will print this. So in the output, it is possible that we might not see a difference, but I will show you how you can tell the difference. So in this case, let's try to run intro. As you can see, you see 2, 2. So you can't tell the difference. But what if we do something like this? Type. There is a command called type. It will show you the type of variable you're printing out, or you have it with you. So we can also say type and put the last bracket here too, type. And if we run this again, as you can see, one is a class of string and the other is a class of integer. So it means that you can change a variable type to another variable type. So we can go on and on about this, but I would advise you to make research and learn more about it. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the data types, right? We are going to talk about the data types. And in this case, we will be talking about the lists and the string. Oh, we've talked about the string already. So let's talk about list. See, list as it is, as you can see, is a keyword. So another thing about variables is that when you're naming your variable, you can't name them keywords and reserved words. Keywords and reserved words are words that have a special meaning to the Python language itself. Things like this list, things like int, things like math.random or something, time.sleep, all those buzzwords that you would hear later that already have like from, import, and all those things already have a special meaning to the computer, so you can't use them as a variable name. So back to what a list is, you can have sample, let's call the variable sample, and you can have an empty list like this. It has nothing in it, so you can have an empty list like this, and a list can store series of data types. It can store two the data types. It can store, this is me, Badmos, and on the side it can have probably my age. Oh god, let's say I'm 17 today. So, and it can also have probably my height. I think I know my height. I think this should be it. You understand? So it can, and you can see I have a string here, I have an integer, and I have a floating number here. I have a, so you can store anything in it. So right now, why would we need to know about strings and lists? Because we'll be coming across things about them a lot when we are actually writing our codes. When we get to places where we need to collect elements, we will be knowing about this. So I do not want to have a very long video, so I would want to stop here, and in the next video we will touch base on some other parts of the Python basics that you should know about. Thank you for getting this far. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.